The question surrounding Lance Stroll's position in Formula One continues to be raised by Formula One enthusiasts and analysts, and it appears that everyone remains dissatisfied with the family connections that secure his place on the grid. Criticism is mounting steadily and the negative commentary keeps flowing. But will this pressure be sufficient to finally witness Lance's departure from Formula One? And should this occur, who might serve as the ideal substitute given that the driver market could experience significant upheaval in 2026? The circumstances involving Lance Stroll and Aston Martin are familiar to anyone who follows the sport closely. His presence stems from his father's ownership, and he barely attempts to demonstrate any genuine enthusiasm for Formula One. During press briefings, Stroll has displayed minimal engagement or curiosity regarding the inquiries directed toward him. His most recent mistake occurred in Canada when he refused to discuss specifics about his wrist injury, claiming medical confidentiality. Although this represents a valid justification for avoiding detailed discussion, it simply adds to his already troubled rapport with journalists. According to Germany's Sport Bild, Stroll's body language frustrates everyone attempting to perform their duties and provide fans with comprehensive information. In response to this issue, the publication has analyzed the word count per response from the Canadian driver, noting, "Stroll sits lazily on the sofa beside Lewis Hamilton and Franco Colapinto in Canada, conspicuously chewing gum." Stroll's responses were brief and limited. His average reached 33.72 words per response. This display left reporters frustrated and bewildered. We understand that Verstappen maintains a strained relationship with media personnel, but his motivations differ significantly from Lance's situation, making any comparison pointless. Ultimately, we recognize that without Lawrence's decision to end this arrangement, no modification will occur in the driver roster. This represents the overwhelming reality facing Aston Martin, a team that could potentially struggle with their achievements if 2026 proves highly favorable for them. Through securing Newey and partnering with Honda, the Silverstone-headquartered organization has gradually established themselves as serious competitors in the championship. However, currently, their sole source of optimism appears to rest with Fernando Alonso. At 43 years old, the dual world champion could benefit from assistance from his teammate, something he's unlikely to obtain considering Lance's competitive limitations. Formula One commentators and journalists aren't the only ones who view Lance Stroll unfavorably. Previous Formula One drivers also hold negative perspectives about him. Timo Glock offered his thoughts on Aston Martin's driver selection and stated that given the choice, he would refuse to contract Lance for 2026 under any conditions. Expanding on this topic, the German driver explained, "When examining Stroll's performance in qualifying battles, he has never gained the advantage. These were predominantly clear losses, and his consistency remains unconvincing this season as well. Occasionally, there are race weekends where he appears to be matching Fernando Alonso's pace, but across an entire season, he consistently falls short. In the end, Stroll clearly hasn't reached the level expected after his extended Formula One tenure. Would I retain him for 2026 if I controlled Aston Martin? Absolutely not. The organization requires a different strategy for success. They need two drivers who deliver reliable performance." Glock has accurately described the situation, though this information isn't particularly surprising to anyone. Despite Stroll outscoring his teammate during the season's initial 10 races, his performance is deteriorating and his emotional outbursts become increasingly difficult to manage. Looking at the Barcelona Grand Prix, Lance damaged equipment following his Q2 elimination and trailed his teammate by over half a second. This mirrors the incident in Qatar during 2023 when Stroll was eliminated once more and proceeded to shove his physiotherapist and hurl objects aggressively. This represents behavior that Lance understands will go unpunished for one simple reason: his father controls the team. With his father as team owner, Stroll operates within a safe environment and completely shielded atmosphere, which encourages such unreasonable conduct. Following the Montreal Grand Prix, Stroll openly expressed doubt about achieving competitive speed in the car during 2025. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso celebrated scoring points once again. suggesting this might become routine for him now that Newey has contributed to certain 2025 developments. Unfortunately, the team may struggle to rely on Lance's contributions, given his diminished confidence with the vehicle. When discussing expectations for 2025, the Canadian stated, "I honestly don't notice any improvement in the car. Perhaps he's simply achieving positive outcomes and feels confident in the vehicle because of that, but I'm uncertain. I feel quite sluggish. I understand we're slow, and I suspect this situation will repeat in Austria because the car possesses certain traits that remain constant, and there are issues and restrictions that I believe never improve. Therefore, it will likely continue being identical repeatedly." His prediction proved accurate. He failed to advance beyond Q1 while Alonso propelled himself into Q3 alongside the leading teams. The two-time world champion expressed satisfaction with the car's performance and mentioned that the improvements are producing excellent results, which the team will certainly consider when working to enhance their 2025 outcome. However, Stroll's pessimistic outlook for the remaining season presents a troubling indication of the team's fundamental problems. They're demanding results from someone incapable of delivering them. The issue? Extensive protection from his father, something that's extremely unlikely to disappear anytime soon. Lawrence has repeatedly emphasized that Lance's position remains secure as long as the project continues. This situation is disappointing because reviewing Stroll's debut season with Williams shows he earned 40 points and achieved one podium finish in Baku, marking the peak before his Formula One career declined significantly. But could changes be approaching? Aston Martin lacks the independence they believe they possess. Honda supports them while Adrian Newey serves as their technical ally. Should performance fall short, rest assured they will begin questioning what requires modification sooner rather than later, and I'm certain Lance will top their priority list, likely for valid reasons too. His car feedback abilities are poor, he lacks cooperation, and his communication with the race engineer resembles that of an adolescent. What lies ahead for Aston Martin's future? The Silverstone-based team continues pursuing Max Verstappen, but considering the intense competition and possibility of his Red Bull continuation, alternative possibilities exist. Initially, George Russell has emerged as an excellent prospect for joining Aston Martin, particularly since his Mercedes future remains unconfirmed. This situation might evolve in various directions, where Max and Toto Wolff could establish a partnership beginning in 2026, potentially excluding Russell from consideration. Should this occur, Red Bull would represent an obvious destination for his services, but given their performance decline, he might prefer joining a team completely dedicated to 2026 preparation, which definitely describes Aston Martin. Even under this scenario, Lance Stroll's dismissal remains highly improbable. If the team selects Russell as their leader starting in 2026, the probable outcome would involve Alonso's premature retirement. While this arrangement would provide significant advantages for the Drivers' Championship, it will highlight Lance Stroll's deficiencies as both a driver and teammate overall. Regardless, Honda might also influence this situation significantly. The Japanese corporation's president clearly declared their intention to substantially impact driver selection decisions, mirroring their previous Red Bull involvement. Naturally, expecting Tsunoda's arrival due to his Honda Academy connection seems somewhat unrealistic, but we know Verstappen appreciates Honda's power units. All components contributing to Max's success during his 4 recent championships have been assembled at Aston Martin, except their technology and aerodynamic facilities are considerably more sophisticated. Will Lawrence ultimately conclude that his son isn't suitable for Formula One and allow him to pursue alternative aspirations? Only time will provide that answer. Currently, we observe and wait to see if Aston Martin will finally prioritize team success above all else. Considering everything discussed, what are your thoughts regarding Lance's future at Aston Martin? And more significantly, do you believe opportunities exist for alternative drivers to occupy his position long-term? Share your opinions in the comments section below, and after doing so, be sure to select the video that will appear on your screen momentarily.